All right, folks, Yishai Fleisher here in a beautiful, cool night in Judea. And I'm getting strength from the land below, the God above, and the society, the Jewish society of the Jewish state, and the minorities that live here. I'm getting strength because I know that this is the good land and a special land. And I know that being strong is good. Because a strong Israel means a bigger Israel, means a safer Israel. It means actually less jihad and more safety and decency for this whole region. But there are a lot of enemies out there that want to shrink Israel, and they want to weaken Israel. They want to weak Jewish people. They want to put us back in our ghetto and get us out of this redemptive period and back into the exile. Check out this interview, which bespeaks just of that, which is myself talking with the BBC radio, Sarah Montague. And notice her questions. Every question is about trying to weaken Israel. It's like, why are you fighting in Gaza? I don't know. Maybe because there's a lot of bad guys there. We got to crush them. What about Ben Gvir? He's bad. No, Ben Gvir's good. We need strong Jews. We need strong leadership. What about the fact that when you strike against Hamas, you're creating and recruiting more Hamas folks? No, I don't think so. I think that when you hit the bad guys on the head, they actually start to fear you and respect you, and the world respects you when Israel's strong and has a strong Jewish identity as well. So I think it's important to check out this video just to get a sense about how to answer those folks that want to shrink us and weaken us incessantly. We won't let them, and here's how I answer. Before we get to the video, please like, subscribe, comment, and check out the links below to support. When you support us, you support a strong Israel, and you are blessed. So thank you so much. Here is my conversation with Sarah Montague of the BBC.
Israel launched more airstrikes last night, killing at least 13. The army said it had targeted what it called a Hamas military site and vessels, and gave this evacuation warning.
تحذير عاجل لجميع سكان قطاع غزة المتواجدين في المنطقة المحددة بالأحمر.
The Israeli spokesman is telling all residents of the Gaza Strip in a number of areas, including Beit Hanun, to leave. And he says, as you are aware, the IDF has launched a large-scale and intense operation against terrorist organizations in Gaza. And he's warning them they must evacuate immediately. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet voted last night to reappoint the far-right politician Itamar Ben-Gvir as National Security Minister. The Israeli Parliament, the Knesset, will vote on it today. The ultranationalist, who has previously been convicted of inciting racism and supporting terrorism, resigned when the ceasefire was agreed. A man who often advises him on international policy is Yishai Fleisher. He's the Director of International Affairs of the Jewish community of Hebron. He, like Mr. Ben-Gvir, lives in a West Bank settlement and describes himself as a right-wing nationalist resettler. His views reflect that of a significant minority on the right in Israel, and of course one that is present in government. I asked how he feels about Israel launching a new round of strikes.
The situation is such that hostages are still there and Hamas is regaining strength in Gaza. So it's the right thing to do to get back into the action, subdue and destroy Hamas, rescue and liberate our hostages, and change the situation on the ground so that Israel isn't threatened anymore.
That first night, more than 400 are understood to be dead. There are thought to be 174 children by one report in that number. That must make you feel very uncomfortable.
Well, nobody wants to see civilians getting hurt. That being said, that number is not verified. Moreover, it's a war. We have a war, and in war, people die.
Do you accept that in pursuing that aim, you're accepting that there will be hostage deaths, but that's what a necessary price?
Of course, the hostages are victims of Hamas terrorism, but if we give in to that terrorism, there'll be more hostages in the next round. It's a very painful situation. That situation is painful because the Hamas were able to take hostages and create this kind of situation. And we've got to make sure that they never do it again.
Those who say that actually as a policy this is self-defeating, it was a point made by the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who said before...
Former Secretary of State.
The
current Secretary of State, Rubio, and the Secretary of Defense, Hegseth, very much are in favor of destroying Hamas and fighting an all-out war.
But in a way, I was using him to illustrate the argument I wanted to make. His point was that their intelligence suggested Hamas had recruited more operatives as a result of the fighting since October the 7th. I just wonder whether you recognize that you are, to some extent, recruiting for Hamas because you are radicalizing more generations of Palestinians.
I don't believe that for 1 second. I believe that 99% of Gazans want to leave Gaza and get out from under the thumb of the Hamas.
The ceasefire deal was that both Israel and Hamas signed up to, with President Trump coming into power and with his approval, was this first phase which we've gone through. And Hamas says it is still signed up to that original deal, which would have seen negotiations for a second phase, which would involve further release of hostages in return for Israel's withdrawal from Gaza. I don't think you were ever a fan of that going into that second phase, were you? And there are some who say that actually Israel may say that Hamas has broken the ceasefire, but actually this is Israel saying we don't want to withdraw from Gaza. Would that be fair?
I think it would be fair, but the bottom line is I think we have to simplify it, make it clear. Israel is here to destroy the organization that wants to destroy it. We had a situation where we had to negotiate with them for some hostages. That's stalled now. It's time to get back to war, to the phase that we are going to destroy Hamas and begin to govern Gaza. Hamas will no longer rule the Gazan people or the Gazan land. That's where we're going.
You are in favor of resettlement of various parts of land, which internationally many countries say are illegally occupied, but I know you don't accept that. Is that what you'd like to see for Gaza? Israelis resettling the land, living there and governing it?
Absolutely. I'd love to see Israel get back to our ancestral homeland, a land that we governed until 2005. And we're the only ones that can make sure that everybody that lives there has a decent life. We're the only ones that can denazify, de-jihadify the Gaza Strip. We're the ones that can ensure that all people that live there, including Jewish Israelis, including Arab residents, including all kinds of folks that live there, that want to live peacefully.
Palestinians?
If so-called Palestinians are pro-Israel and anti-jihad, they will be able to live there with a bright future.
And if they are pro-Palestine but anti-jihad?
Well, that's a tricky variety. From my perspective, as an Israeli nationalist, I think that the word Palestine is something that is anti-Israel. It wants to erase and replace Israel. That's what all Palestinian factions want. They want the erasure of Israel. I don't think we should let them.
Can I ask you about Itamar Ben-Gvir, who has been voted back into cabinet? There will be legal challenges against it, partly because of his behaviour when he was last security minister.
His behaviour was excellent as security minister. He helped Israeli civilians get more guns. He helped terrorists feel less happy in jail, and he allowed more prayer on the Temple Mount, and he did a lot of very important and good things, and that's why he's slated to win upwards of 10 seats in the next elections and is coming back into government. He left on moral grounds. He was against the deal. Now the government is going back to war, so he's probably going back into government as Minister of National Security.
Can I ask you then about the lack of support amongst the wider Israeli population for this breaking of the ceasefire? The polls would suggest that most people in Israel don't, and I'm talking most Israeli Jews, 80% of the population.
Sarah, we have a poll every few years. It's called elections. Okay, it's not some poll written by somebody who's agendized. A majority of Israelis want to see us destroy those who want to destroy Israel. And our government wants to get back in the war. The American government sees that with a positive outlook, and so that's what we're doing.
Yishai Fleisher.
Hey folks, I hope you enjoyed that discussion with Sarah Montague of the BBC. And what's the outcome of it? What's the bottom line? Strong. We got to be strong. It's not so much even what the answers are, it's the posture. The posture has got to be that we, the Jewish people, are strong. We're back in our home. God is with us. A strong identity is good. Pushing back on our enemies is good. Our tiny Jewish state has to be protected, and we cannot allow the enemies to weaken us. We cannot surrender to them. We cannot succumb to them. It's not going to work out. I know that you are not like that. You do not surrender to the enemies of the Jewish people. So please keep fighting. And one of the ways to keep fighting is supporting our programming through liking, subscribing, commenting, and clicking the links below to subscribe, including buymeacoffee.com/Yishai, and also fightforisrael.org, fightforisrael.org, because you're a fighter for Israel. God bless you folks from the good land, from God's blessings, from this beautiful Judea, wherever you are. Blessings and shalom.